Now, the first report that came in was that Hamas received millions of dollars through a crypto exchange which had an office in Moscow city. Apart from that, it was also reported that the Palestinian jihadi group allegedly had $93 million received into its digital wallets just before the 7th October attack. So this report came in Wall Street Journal, and this proves that the money that was supplied to Palestinian group was coming from outside of Gaza, and this was definitely not funded locally, and there are international players involved. We'll talk about that more in a bit, but so this was the first bit of news in the last 12 hours. Then we saw how the Syrian Defense Ministry declared that the Aleppo airport was non-operational because of the strikes from Israel, and we also saw the videos of the same. And in fact, two airports in Syria as of right now are not functional, and they've been destroyed by Israel. Now, there are a lot of rumors around this, there are a lot of theories around this. It is said that apparently the Iranian foreign minister was going to land in Syria before the bombing was done. In fact, he was carrying some weapons and ammunitions to drop in Syria, and these Israelis attacked the air bases or the airports just before the Iranian minister landed. And it is reported that the Iranian minister actually took a U-turn. His flight took a U-turn and went back to Iran. Now, we don't know what all things are true in this theory, but if this is true, it's not very unbelievable. It is possible considering the kind of things that are happening in this conflict. Now, after that, what we saw was that Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, he had a meeting, emergency meeting with the forces, and he mentioned that the invasion of Gaza was delayed. So now this was the single biggest news event for the day, whereby we all were expecting, going by the rhetoric coming in from the Israelis, that they will go inside Gaza today, but they didn't. In fact, they mentioned that they're going to delay it indefinitely. Now, the reasons, immediately when this got announced, there were speculations of the reasons. Apparently, what was told was that there have been floods today. There have been huge rains in Israel, and we can see on Twitter that a lot of videos that the streets of Tel Aviv are flooded. So the reason given was that there are floods in Israel. The weather conditions apparently don't allow a ground invasion. So Israeli forces on the ground will not get air support, is what was told to us. But there are some reports saying that the weather is largely clear in Gaza. So we don't know how true this is, because yes, there was rain in Tel Aviv, there was flooding, but on the Gaza side where this invasion was alleged to happen, there was not much rain. So this whole theory of rain delaying the invasion is questionable. There are definitely more reasons to it, according to various reports. One of the reports says that the delay was because there were certain disagreements between the emergency government leaders, and because of that disagreement between Netanyahu and other leaders in the emergency government, this delay was there. Now, there's another theory saying that United States asked Israel to hold on to the invasion till the civilians were fully evacuated from north to south. Now, there are these three theories, that is the weather, and apart from weather, the second theory is that infighting is within the emergency government and United States telling Israel to do so. So these are the three theories that are going around as of today. The reasons for why this invasion has been delayed. Now, then we saw that there was an earthquake in Afghanistan, 6.4 magnitude. There was a huge earthquake in Afghanistan. Obviously, thousands of people are impacted. In fact, it is reported that Hundreds and thousands have been killed. It is a new human tragedy which is ongoing right now in the world, but it is apparently getting very little media attention because all eyes are on Israel and Gaza as we speak. Not even Russia and Ukraine is getting the kind of media coverage that it was. So prayers for Afghanistan citizens. Hope they recover from this soon. Now, then we saw a video from London that the LGBTQ community showed its support to Hamas and Palestinians. Now, it's a bit funny because in Gaza, according to their law, according to Section 152 of Penal Code in Gaza, it criminalizes consensual same-sex sexual activity, and actually you can get an imprisonment of 10 years if you're caught having sex with another human being of the same sex. So homosexuality is banned in Gaza, and Hamas actually punishes people for if they are from LGBTQ community. So it's a bit funny to see LGBT community to protest on streets for Gaza, but it is understandable because yes, a lot of children have lost their lives in this Israeli aggression within Gaza. So from a humanitarian perspective, we can understand why these LGBT people are protesting in London. But from a purely logical perspective or ideological perspective, there is definitely a conflict of interest there. Then we saw that in Washington, D.C., thousands started protesting in favor of Palestine and Gaza. In fact, we could see the police trying to manage the large crowd in Washington, D.C., so outside Capitol. So this was another thing that happened in the last 12 hours. Then the Palestinian Health Ministry said that more than 2,300 people have lost their lives in Gaza, with around 700, and out of that, around 700 are claimed to be children. So this was information released by Palestinian Health Ministry. Then we saw that Anthony Blinken today met Saudi Crown Prince MBS in Riyadh, and they had a conversation, and he didn't really mention anything about the outcome of the meeting, except for the fact that he told one of the reporters that it was productive. That's about it. So there was no information shared about what was exactly discussed between Anthony Blinken and MBS. Blinken was there in Israel for the last 2 days, and today he visited Saudi, and it is to be seen what, in fact, immediately after this visit, he is going to come back to Israel, and I think he has already come back to Israel. So he is debriefing Netanyahu as we speak about what was the discussion. So there's clearly more to this. Then we saw that there were marches in Sydney, Australia for pro-Hamas and pro-Palestine. Marches were there. Thousands of people joined in. What was one interesting thing that happened today was that a journalist called Seymour Hersh, he claimed that Israel is going to use JDAM bombs to destroy Gaza, and I'll talk more about this later in my next video when I'm going to talk about certain arms and ammunition, some new arms and ammunition that Israel is going to use in this conflict. Now, at the same time, there was also one report that United States is preparing rapid reaction Marines to be deployed in Israel if there is a requirement. So clearly United States is preparing. They already have aircraft carriers, fighter jets, and many equipment in that region. And now this with latest news that the Rapid Action Marines will also be ready for deployment, clearly signaling that United States is ready for all situations. We saw that the border towns within Lebanon were under fire from the Israelis today. In fact, Hezbollah has been continuously launching rockets throughout the day, throughout the night, into Israel, into the northern Israel, and Israel responded by throwing some missiles and ATGMs within Lebanese territory. In fact, as we speak, Israeli fighter jets have started bombing positions within Lebanon territory. So clearly, Hezbollah and Israeli forces are at loggerheads here, and it's not if, but for sure, the conflict has started between Hezbollah and Israel. So the second front has been opened. It's no longer a theory. Second front has been opened in the last 12 hours, and that is something that we saw today as well. And in Milan, there was a lot of pro-Hamas protests, and in fact, they even had a fight with the policemen over there. Not surprising. We also saw that a video which actually proved that an anti-tank missile was fired from Lebanon towards the Israeli side. So there was a video evidence as well of the same. And then what we saw was that Israel opens a humanitarian corridor for almost 3 hours. So Israel actually did that. Now, last time when it opened a humanitarian corridor, we saw the news reports that the convoy of civilians who are getting evacuated were actually attacked, and more than 70 people were killed by the bombing from Israel. But this time around today, there was no such news. And I think the humanitarian corridor was operational peacefully today, according to various reports. Now, apart from this, we also saw that there was a news report in Reuters where Ukrainian foreign finance minister actually confessed in front of camera. Sergei Marchenko confessed that there was a fatigue with financing for Ukraine war. So clearly the Ukrainian side, they have started talking about this, that there is a fatigue when it comes to funding Ukraine, especially in the light of the Israel conflict. Now there is a question mark whether the West can really fund continue funding Ukraine. So this has been voiced by none other than the finance minister of Ukraine today. So that is a red flag for Zelensky, because he's been trying to gain some attention over the last 1 week. And then Israel, also IDF released some footages of attacks on southern Lebanon. So they also were quite open about their attacks on Lebanon. And we saw something very interesting today. A US Navy Poseidon P-8A aircraft was airborne in eastern Mediterranean Sea near Cyprus. So there were reports that there was a Russian submarine in that area, in that region, and this aircraft was in that region to monitor the scene. So now this is definitely interesting, because there's been some build-up in the Mediterranean Sea from United States after the Israel conflict, but at the same time there are some Russian assets as well within that region, within that larger region. So this is something to keep track of, because two big powers are already there in that region as we speak. Now, in fact, Al Jazeera reporter mentioned that Israel may no longer be fighting on just two fronts. So yes, Al Jazeera reporter has hinted that very soon a third front might be opened towards Israel. So already we know that there's a Gaza front, there's a Lebanon front, and very soon the Al Jazeera reporter mentioned that there can be a third front, because there was apparently some threats of rockets being fired towards Israel from Syria. So this third front is expected, according to Al Jazeera journalists. So we need to wait and watch. We saw that in Jordan, a lot of people tried to barge into the US embassy. The police was trying to stop them, and these are honestly common scenes across the world these days, whether it is Europe, UK, United States, or any other country. We are seeing a lot of support from the Palestinian side, at least hundreds of thousands of people in everywhere going to the embassies of Israel and United States and protesting. So this is happening in Jordan, which is next door for Israel. So not surprising. Apparently Jordan has given a soft response to this conflict to Israel. So Jordan is no longer as hostile as it was probably decades back. So in that sense, Israel is quite safe comparatively on the Jordan front, but We've seen some videos of people trying to jump the fence, and also people are emotional, right? I mean, in Middle East or anywhere else in the world, when they are seeing these visuals of children getting killed in Gaza, obviously they have taken to streets, and that's understandable. Um, Very shocking piece of video today surfaced that the flag of Lebanon's Hezbollah was raised in the Rahab base of the Israeli army, according to Al Manar news channel. And then there was subsequently a video which was released to prove the same. So Hezbollah has actually captured a army base of Israel, according to news reports. And if this is true, this is a major setback for Israel. In fact, this can be humiliating for Israel as well, because Hezbollah, yes, it has 1 lakh troops according to their leader, but with all the military might, if Israel in the initial phase of this conflict loses a army base to Hezbollah, it is definitely humiliating for Israel. We need to actually confirm this news again. Although Al Manar seems to be credible news source, we also saw some video as well, but I'll wait for more firm confirmation before reporting the same. So now this is a major red flag that I see, that actually an army base of Israel was captured by Hezbollah. Then we saw that there were some rockets fired from Gaza Strip to Sderot. In fact, as we speak, Sderot city has been completely evacuated, and there is actually no one left in that city except few people. There was a old lady who was giving interview to some news channels apart from that. But 99% of citizens of Sderot have been evacuated, and there were some rocket attacks today as well, I think for the 4th consecutive day. And now the city has been completely evacuated. Mind you, this is the first time an entire city in Israel has been evacuated due to bombings. It has never happened before, not even in the previous wars in the last few decades. So this is big thing, right? Losing an army base allegedly and evacuating a full city. This is a setback for Israel. We saw that Vladimir Putin gave a interesting statement. He said that Russia is prepared for a war with United States, and I would not read the entire statement here. You can check out my X account, where we have made a post, and we have also published a video of the same. You can go through that. So essentially what Putin is doing is that he has accused United States of stoking tensions in Middle East. Not surprising, he's been saying that for a while, and we can expect that statement from him. We saw some more videos from Tel Aviv where the streets were actually flooded, but the rain had stopped then. So it was not a rain which was continuously pouring for the entire day. It was a rain which was there for a few hours and then it stopped. So I'm not sure whether the Gaza operation was stopped because of only rain. There's clearly more to that. We saw some visuals, some horrific visuals within Gaza, where they were evacuating some civilians from the rubble. It's a common sight, unfortunately, that we see every day. And a very weird news I came across. There was an analyst in BBC Arabic news channel. He said that Hamas actually broke Islamic laws because, Islam says that, I will, let you guys watch that video on my X account. I have posted that video, so you can watch that. And this was interesting. Like Ilham Aliyev, the leader of Azerbaijan, he actually, saluted his flag in Nagorno-Karabakh after capturing that region. He even posed for some pictures, smiling, and this guy is an interesting character, and he was smiling, and he was posing in front of camera in the Nagorno-Karabakh region. As we speak, thousands of Armenians have fled that region, and they are now refugees in various other towns and cities in Armenia. A lot of them have gone to Yerevan as well as we speak. And there are some reports, according to some sources, that Azerbaijan might even launch a full-fledged invasion on Armenia. Now, these reports are unconfirmed, but looking at the way things are happening these days, nothing is shocking anymore. But I'll be closely tracking that development if that happens. And this one was very, very interesting. We saw that there was in an SUV, someone was waving a Taliban flag in Canada in the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine protest, and we can see that in the video that we posted, that the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine supporters were actually fighting with that person for raising the Taliban flag, because they know that it's bad PR for Palestine to have these people from Taliban waving the flag. But what's more interesting is that there are a lot of Taliban sympathizers within Canada, and that is something to make note of. So, Taliban is known to be like we all know they are hardliners and all, but this was very interesting to see in Canada. Apparently, these elements are there in Canada. Then Hezbollah's official channel, they posted a video of training their troops. Now, this is propaganda. I mean, it's a well shot video, and it is intended to kind of be some kind of psyops to whoever watches that video. So I wouldn't read too much into this training video, but yeah, it certainly says that they are not like probably Taliban or something. They are much better trained than that. So that is something that comes out of this video. And then Iran has given a very clear warning today that no one can guarantee the control of situation if Israel invades Gaza. Now, there is speculation that Israel has paused the invasion because of this threat, and United States telling Israel to not go ahead with the same and hold on to that at least till the evacuations happen now. But it's not surprising, because Iran foreign minister has been very, very vocal in the last 3 days. Not once, twice, but many times he has reiterated that Iran will get involved in some way if Israel goes inside Gaza. So we have to take these threats very seriously, because it's coming repeatedly from some of the senior most officials of the Iranian government. They even met the leader of Hamas today. So there's a lot of action from the Iranians over the last few days, and they've been very vocal. And somehow initially some people might have considered their threats as rhetoric, but if you actually see that we should take them seriously, because they've said that again and again. They've even made some statements like there'll be an earthquake in Israel if they go inside Gaza and stuff. So we'll keep a watch on the same. And then there was a news that in France, apparently they are trying to reduce the electricity consumption. I'll talk about that in a separate video. It's a separate story altogether. The convoy of trucks with aid was blocked in the Rafah crossing from the Egypt side. And today we could see video where there were hundreds of trucks which were on the highway, and apparently they were blocked during the Rafah, in the Rafah checkpoint. And the aid didn't actually go inside Gaza. So anyone who is saying that Egypt is not doing anything to help Palestinians, they should see this video. I think Egypt is certainly sending aid. Yes, help does not always mean throwing some missiles and rockets to the common enemy. Help also means sending humanitarian aid, and that is something that Egypt has been doing. And it is unclear why these convoy was stopped by Israel. There were reports that there would be humanitarian corridor, then there were bombings on the Rafah border, then again they said that they're going to open. There's been some flip-flop when it comes to Rafah checkpoints, and we'll keep a close watch on this. Today was definitely not the day when the aid went inside Gaza. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken now is again in Israel as we speak. He will be talking to Netanyahu, and he will be sharing his feedback after his meeting with other Middle East leaders that he had in the last one day. So we'll keep a watch on that. Interestingly, Iraqi parliament has called for activation of the Arab Defense Treaty in response to ongoing Israeli aggression. Now, the Arab Defense Treaty was something which was signed long back in 1950, and it's kind of obsolete, and it's more of symbolic rhetoric than something practical. Apparently, it calls for all the Arab nations to be united in fighting against any threat to any Arabic country. So now this is more of rhetoric. I mean, Iraqis, they don't even have their money in their bank account. Iraqis' revenue is stored in US Treasury. So US is technically still in occupation of Iraq. So it is quite surprising and interesting to see Iraqis being very assertive. And United States clearly has full control over them. So it's quite surprising them to see them make these statements. And one very important thing that has come out is that we all know, about Iron Dome system, right? Now the missiles have started depleting from the Israeli stockpile. They've ordered for some from United States, but even after that, the missiles are less. So now Israelis are planning to deploy Iron Beam, which is basically a direct energy weapon. It's a laser which is used to shoot down incoming rockets. Now, this is for the first time Israel would be using this technology. In fact, they were supposed to use it after a few years, and very few countries have actually used this in battlefield. In fact, I think this is the first time. Maybe you can write in the comments and tell me if this is the first time. In my opinion, this is the first time a country is going to use Iron Beam system, a laser to shoot down short-range missiles. As of now, this is still an unconfirmed report, but I won't be surprised if they induct this weapon soon, because their Iron Dome missiles are depleting. It's not unlimited in supply, and they have to bring this Iron Beam to the battlefield more early than required. There was also a very massive sandstorm in Jordan today, and the video looked really scary. I mean, 100 kilometers east of Amman, it was there. It was full orange skyline, and you guys can see that video on our X channel. Then we also saw today that Israeli Defense Minister Gallant, this guy is very, very aggressive in his statements and maybe in actions as well. He has said that it will be a powerful war, it will be a deadly war, it will be a precise war, it will be a war that will change the situation forever. So this guy has been making very, very aggressive statements almost every single day, and today again he has made this harsh statement. Apparently he was a ground force commander in the last few wars, and he was held back by the political leadership, and he was frustrated about that. And now that he actually is the defense minister, it is alleged that he will push the envelope this time around and do things that he couldn't do last time around. So that was one more thing. And then we saw some more videos of Israeli shells falling in southern Lebanon. We saw British citizens picking up fight with Hamas supporters in the streets of London. This was a first, because till now we have seen that the pro-Palestinian protesters were largely protesting. But today what we saw, that actually locals picked up a fight with them, and I don't know what triggered them, but clearly they are not happy about these protests happening in their country. US National Security Advisor Sullivan said that the water pipe has turned back on in southern Gaza. Now, basically, he was the first one to break this news that the water pipe was, which was closed during the initial days of the conflict by Israel to punish Gaza, has now been opened, or is in the process of being opened. Now, there are some theories around this as well. It's not like Israel has suddenly become very generous with Gaza. It is being said that Israel has asked Gaza citizens to move from north to south, right? So they have basically started giving water to the southern side of Gaza, so that they see it as an incentive to go from north to south to get the water. So Israel is clearly enticing Gaza citizens to go from north to south by opening water supply in the southern part of Gaza. So this is the latest trick from the book of Israel, according to various reports. I think this looks quite believable. Maybe, definitely, this sounds like a good idea. Like if you were in the Israeli side, I mean, hypothetically, I'm saying, and if you want to kind of push Gaza citizens who are not evacuating northern Gaza, you actually switch off water there, and then you switch on water on the southern side so that they can go from north to south. So now this is an interesting development today that has happened. We also saw that there was a hint given by Jake Sullivan that there might be a package, a weapons package announced for both Israel and Ukraine, combined package of $2 billion US. Yes, you heard it right. This was hinted by Jake Sullivan in one of the CNN interview. $2 billion combined package for Israel and Ukraine. Now it's sounding more like some kind of package or gift package or something like that. That's the way he spoke in the interview. It needs to be seen how the Senate reacts to that. Obviously, we'll be closely tracking that. El Sisi, who has been uncharacteristically silent throughout this conflict, has said that Israel's response is a collective punishment and not self-defense. Now, this is not really a very aggressive statement. This is more of a middle ground kind of statement. Obviously, Egypt has been very quiet and has not shown any kind of aggression in this conflict. So they clearly don't want to be involved in this kind of conflict, and they want to stay away from this conflict. We saw some protests in Dublin as well, and we saw that Israeli Air Force have started attacking Hezbollah positions directly within the territory of Lebanon, as I spoke earlier in this video. That action is going on as we speak. And then one very interesting thing happened today, that the traditional Jews from a certain section of traditional Jews, Orthodox Jews from Jerusalem, they were actually seen burning Israeli flag. Yes, you heard it right. So as you can see in the video on our X channel, which I posted, you can see that these Orthodox Jews are actually burning the flag of Israel. Now, this might be a propaganda video where it's a one-off thing which went viral by pro-Palestinian netizens, but it's something to keep close track of, that there are some Jews within Israel who are completely against Netanyahu government. Of course, there are many against Netanyahu, but there are some who actually really hate this whole operation, and we saw that in the video that they were burning the same. Now, there are some unconfirmed reports that Russia has actually handed over some military equipment to the Syrian army. In fact, Russia has also honored one of the commander of Syrian army as well. So if this is true, then this is certainly will be seen as an escalation from the Israeli and US camp, because Russia directly supplying arms to Syria at this stage, when things are heating up, clearly will be noted by Washington and Tel Aviv. Some US A-10 fighter jets have also joined the Middle East command as we speak, and Netanyahu also called for an emergency cabinet meeting, so it is expected that he'll take some tough decisions then. Very fast developments. We're trying to track as fast as possible. As you know, we are always very fast on our X account. And we saw some visuals of Israeli Air Force attacking Rafah in Gaza Strip. Again, Rafah is where the border with Egypt is there, where apparently the aid would be sent. So there were some visuals of that. We've seen Moroccans protesting for Palestine in their city. So it was a very eventful day. We'll be tracking very closely this development. Do follow our X account for latest updates. We are bringing it at lightning speed, and do subscribe to this channel for more updates and like this video. It will really help us to expand this channel, and we'll be bringing more stuff on this channel. We'll be publishing regular news reports, and our team will bring you the best coverage of geopolitical events going forward. So do like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep posting more videos. Stay tuned.